and that's what you always want to do, right? You want to compare year over year. And here's a red flag, actually. Any agency that starts to talk about month-to-month comparisons or quarter-to-quarter comparisons of the same year, that's a red flag, because you know what? At the end of the day, your December of 2018 has to be compared to your December of 2017. In March, it snows.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay?
There's a lot of things that...
So you can't compare March to May, because in May, guess what? It's going to go up every year.
100%.
This is the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris.
All right, hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It's Jason Harris here with Digital Dealership Solutions, and I am visited tonight by my guest, Ivan Sandoval, with 4D3. He's a digital consultant. Now I'm going to give Ivan an opportunity to explain what that is and give you guys his origin story. Make sure you include the DJ part.
Thanks, Jason. So I am a digital marketing consultant for 4D3. Now, 4D3 is an OEM level digital marketing specific national program that combines partner agencies in all facets of digital marketing, like social media reputation, website, digital advertising, lead management, consultation, you name it, to ensure the most optimal and current digital marketing strategies for all participating dealerships. And we do it in the most transparent manner. And so I think we were just talking a little bit earlier about how I am in the triangle of OEM, agency, and dealership, which is basically what my position is in the 4D3 program. Now, to talk about the DJ part, that's a side business that I have, which I tend to implement a lot of my strategies there first. My website is ranked #1 in Toronto for the most important keyword, which is Wedding DJ Toronto.
Shameless plug. Go ahead, give it to him. What's the website? What's the website?
Not that all that dealers.
I want them to go check it out. Seriously.
SimpleWeddingDJ.com.
Awesome.
SimpleWeddingDJ.com, which I created myself. And anyway, that's a side business. But I am a digital marketing consultant, automotive by heart. I was with Auto Trader for 12 years. So I got a good start. Went from obviously newspapers and newsprint, delivering the Trader magazines and things like this, and we developed ourselves into great digital marketers. And actually, a lot of old Auto Trader alumni are all over the automotive digital marketing sphere throughout the country. So I am very proud to be a part of that group of people. And then, of course, I went to be a digital marketing manager for Carnation Canada, which is a Southwestern Ontario, West GTA kind of dealership group, consisting of generally 8 to 10 dealerships consistently through 4 different OEMs, which is Chrysler, Ford, Nissan, Hyundai, and Kia.
So you went from vendor to the dealer world.
So yeah, basically I went from
Tier 2 dealer group level.
Exactly, to dealer group level. And now I guess I'm at the OEM level, so I've kind of done all 3.
Yeah, you kind of went this way.
That's right. And I did do e-commerce in there for a little bit, 2 years. Took a 2-year break from automotive, which in my opinion, I love automotive, and I'm glad to be back because there's so much we can talk about with automotive. A lot of what I did at Carnation Canada and some of the strategies that we made successful over there weren't relevant in the e-commerce world. You just can't you can't video a hockey stick the same way you can video a car.
Unlimited amount of content.
Exactly. So year to year, when you were doing e-commerce, a hockey stick has a 1/4 of an inch different, whatever it is.
Yep.
And meanwhile, a car has, year to year, the models change so much. There's so many features. There's so many trim changes. There's so many features that it's just endless that you can film, and it looks good. And that's one of the things I loved about automotive was the video aspect of it.
Now, the video aspect of it, how do you work on the video aspect? Does D3 actually produce video, or you guys work with agencies to produce the video?
Well, we're consultants, right? So we talk about our past experiences, best practices, things like this. We bring all of our knowledge to the table in terms of videos. Video advertising is done through the agency.
Yep.
And we're there 100% of the way, supporting the dealership to make sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck, the best ROI. And explaining as well that the differences or what you need to look for, or how we can optimize a cost per view. Let's say you get a cost per view of 10 cents. Well, how can we get cost per view at 0.08 cents without compromising the placements that the videos or the channels or wherever that these videos are placed on. So we want to keep the in-market audience, right, at a certain level and make sure we're getting the lowest cost per view without going below where you're getting placements that maybe aren't so optimal for automotive.
Well, I think video has a huge play, and one of the things I think will be really interesting in this content is that you play in a very interesting space. Like I said, you play in the middle of that triangle, between the dealer level, the manufacturer level, and the agency level. So you get to see from all different directions, right? And for the last couple weeks, before the holidays and for the last couple weeks, I've really been diving into we had an opportunity to manage millions and millions of dollars of ad spend last year, and really just trying to find that sweet spot. What worked, what didn't work. We A/B tested a lot of stuff. You get to see that at kind of even a bigger scale, between dealerships all across the country. And I'm kind of curious to see what you have found, or what you guys have kind of identified in 2018, 2017, 2018, and now moving into 2019. And see if that kind of contrasts with what we kind of discovered as well.
Well, some of what I identified, and it's not related to our program specifically because we make sure to correct these sort of observations, but from what I've seen in general from my entire career in digital is that, so I was in print, and print is a spray and pray approach, correct?
Yes, of course.
So
Still is.
And so what happened was digital came, a lot of people got excited. Now you can target people, you can get down to demographics, and it was great. And you could see what kind of value was coming in. And if you wanted to spend a certain amount of money, you could. And if you didn't want to spend that money, you didn't have to, because you're only targeting the people that you want to target. What happened with a lot of agencies now is they are back to print.
Just in a digital format.
In a digital format. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to spend $1,000 in Grimsby,
sure,
you might not be able to do $1,000 in Grimsby if you want only 18 to 34-year-old men looking for Ford Mustangs.
That's because they go for such a very specific audience. The strategies that have worked for us in the last 18 months and moving forward in 2019 is that you can't have a single level message. You have to have multiple level messages. But you're 100% right. If it's literally in-market individuals, I just got back from Peterborough, Ontario. Okay, it was a Volkswagen dealership. All right, to find there is not simply there is not enough, right, in-market people looking for a Tiguan or an Atlas that will actually even fulfill this dealership's quota, and the numbers are just continuing to get higher.
Exactly. So that's the issue with agencies, is that they have to do scale. So the beauty of digital...
But we don't want to use it as an excuse, though. Like, I hate, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, I'll let you go, but I'm like, ugh.
Unfortunately, that's the way the game is in most parts, because it's just like a construction job or something like that. There's only you have to do a certain amount of work, and if you don't do that work, it's not worth your time.
Sure.
So when you're a digital marketing manager, let's say like I was at Carnation Canada,
yep,
I was able to do what you're talking about. We could take a certain amount of money and focus that solely on a specific demographic in a certain area and spend whatever that's spent only on that one strategy.
Yep.
Right? Nissan Rogues in St. Catharines, let's say, to soccer moms between 18 and 34.
You can go audience specific in your targeting, and hopefully audience specific in your your creative as well, right?
Exactly. So it would be a mom with a soccer ball, something like that.
Really straightforward.
Try to ask an agency to do that for you.
But we have to. I mean, it's 2019.
I wish it was like that.
I mean, the idea that we can put one single ad out there with one single price and assume that ad is sufficient for every single audience that buys that specific vehicle, like, it's totally asinine. Let's use the Rogue, for example. Perfect example, right? Depending on where you are in the city or where you are in the country, I mean, I find the Rogue has probably 3 very distinctive audiences, if not even maybe more than that, sure, right? But you have a retiree audience. Sure. You have a smaller family audience, sure, right? And then you have a male/female active lifestyle audience, right? And there are 3, the funny thing is, all 3 of those different looking people could buy the exact same model. The same features, the same color. But we put one ad out there, assume it's going to be relevant for all 3 of those audiences. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that the reason why is agencies have only so much manpower to throw into 3 individual buckets the way I would have. I
Sure.
would have easily created, I worked with a graphic designer. It was basically just him and I for the 10 dealerships. we would put together this creative and spend whatever that money spent, which made my dealer principal extremely happy.
Sure.
But that doesn't happen these days unless it's a major scale operation. And with PMAs and things like this, it's very difficult to really target down to certain demographics. It won't spend the money. And in a way, agencies are correct in telling you, well, you know what, you can't spend $1,000 on...
because they're looking single level. Like, that's all they want to do. I mean, the amount of money that we spend at the interest level of a consumer's buying cycle is astronomical. And then into the buying portion of their cycle, it's ridiculous. No one out there is really doing a decent job of developing out awareness at the audience level, at an audience specific level, and actually help them move down into that space. Put one ad out there and assume that's going to do the entire thing. And then the downside of putting the one ad out there is what message you're going to put out there. Exactly. Unfortunately, it's the message of price, which, I mean, come on. I can buy a Ford Focus, a Mazda 3, a Toyota Corolla, a Honda Civic, all within dollars of each other.
Sure.
The days of these things being astronomically different, the vehicles being, dramatically different from each other, as it's ended.
So exactly. So if you don't have an in-house digital marketing manager who can actually implement these strategies, which I really suggest that you do have somebody who does do all of that for you. And to be honest, a lot of it doesn't take a lot of time if you have a full-time digital marketing manager, especially around 1 to 2 dealerships, 3 dealerships. It should be a breeze to be able to run Google Ads campaigns. I mean, when I was at Carnation Canada, I ran $50,000 a month in Google Ads, basically $4,000 per dealership plus a bad credit car loans website that we had as well, which was competing against banks. And that was easy. I mean, at first it's a lot to set up, but afterwards it's tweaking, it's looking at numbers. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And I would highly suggest dealerships to have a digital marketing manager in-house. One, you're getting away from management fees. Two, you're getting defined the way you say, right to one specific message to the specific buyer.
Yep.
And that's what digital marketing is really all about.
That's the power of this. I mean, it's amazing what we can do.
Point of it, yeah.
If I wanted to run a campaign against single females between the ages of 35 and 45, I can do that.
Sure.
But to say I use the same creative for the retirees of 55 plus, it's ridiculous. I see something kind of shifting in the industry a little bit, and I love, I'll be a little selfish here, I love being in the position that I'm in right now because we are a smaller boutique agency. We are able to maneuver and adjust very quickly. We are able to completely do audience specific, which we call multiple levels of messages over multiple marketing channels. These larger agencies out of the non-automotive sector, a lot of these larger agencies are falling down. I mean, agencies that dominated for 30, 40 years, in some cases don't even exist anymore because they were so big and fixated on this singular style message they could never adopt to what this new method is. I look at some of these big automotive agencies right now and say, I mean, either they got to change and adopt these very audience-specific strategies, or they're going to die. I mean, they're dinosaurs. We just got done talking about it not only just in marketing, but in website providers. There's some dinosaurs out there right now.
Yeah. Boutique agencies are great. I actually love dealing with boutique agencies, and it's not just to plug you, but it is true. They have an ear for specifics that bigger agencies don't. And of course, our program itself, we all work together, so we're kind of like that in our sort of neck of the woods. But boutique agencies and in-house digital marketers, that's where really that's where you're going to get the bang for your buck along all of these different platforms. When you look at YouTube, when you look at Facebook, Instagram, even AutoTrader, if you're relying on them to do your copy or photos, they're not going to take the attention that a boutique agency might.
Well, they don't care.
There's
no benefit to them.
Exactly.
In taking the time and saying, no, I'm not going to shoot this vehicle because it's not clean yet. I mean, they're not going to.
Here's one thing that I thought that is really attractive for an auto dealer to ask is, when agencies charge a commission rate 25% on spend,
sure,
right? Then that means an agency will want you to spend more.
it's totally back-ass backwards. In fact, I mean, look, I was on the dealer side. We talked about this. I had a dealership. I come from the dealer world. I remember having a conversation with an agency, and I went from $3,000 in spend to $7,000 in spend. My management fee went along up with it.
Exactly.
I asked the simple question of what do I get in addition to that? What additional work do I get from them for that?
Sure.
Bottom line, there wasn't.
Yeah.
There was none. And then the problem was is that their goal and objective was to get me just to spend more money. Every single time, if a campaign didn't quote unquote work, is because I didn't spend enough.
That's true. And every suggestion every month is, they don't come with this big three-pronged approach of this is how we can sell you more Silverados or F-150s. No, it's just basically, I think you should spend $500 more, right? That kind of approach. So when you have an agency that charges you a flat rate,
yes.
right? Let's say $500 a month, and
it's exactly what we do. It's 100% what we do.
By the way, I didn't know that about you. I didn't know.
But no, it's good though because I'm gonna throw it out there. There's my shameless plug.
I did not know that, but as a digital marketing consultant, that is exactly what I, as a dealer, that I would look at, or as digital marketing manager, that I would take to my dealer principal is we got to go with these guys. Why? Because when you're consulting with us,
yes,
right? I'm talking as a dealer side. You are looking for the benefit of us. Because at the end of the day, if I spend 20K, 15K, 10K, you don't care. You get.
Oh no. See, that's the crazy thing. So one of the things that have helped us in our success, right, is that whatever you charge on that campaign, whatever you spend on that campaign, you spend $500 on that campaign, you spend $15,000 on that campaign. My workload didn't change. I still had to create the multiple marketing levels. I still had to create the 2 or 3 different landing pages, the 9 different pieces of ad creative. I still had to create it. It does not matter to me at all that you spent $500 or you spent $15,000. My workload didn't change at all. I actually like where this is going because I think this is really cool. For people moving into 2019, we're already now in 2019, what should a dealership should be looking for in an agency, and then I really want to go, what should a dealership should be looking for in an in-house digital marketing manager? Unfortunately, that title, I hate to say that title, sure. I've literally seen it written out 15 different ways.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so major, very specific.
Yeah, which one do you want to start with, agency side or
we'll start with
in
agency
dealership?
Side. We'll
Okay,
start
cool.
with agency side. Agency side, what you want to look for is an agency that comes up with solutions to you. Proactive solutions. See, there's too much reactive.
I like that.
It's too much reactive. Everyone, somebody sees somebody do it, and then you do it, right?
Keeping up the Joneses, yep.
So let's say Black Friday, right? The Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
How many dealerships on the Thursday of the Black Friday? Oh my God, we got to do something.
I got great clients, but I still got the phone calls.
Beginning of November, last week of October, an agency should have called and said, listen, Black Friday's coming. Let's create a killer promotion. Let's use YouTube ads. Let's use Facebook. Let's use Google ads.
Sure.
Perfect. You're way ahead of the game. You've already started your campaign well ahead of everyone else, and everyone else is just catching up.
Sure.
If you have an agency that's doing that for you, then that's the agency you go with. And then on the second level,
now, I would push you one step farther. That the agency that you're working with actually would refuse to do a Black Friday sale for you. Because that message, I mean, you think about it, every single retailer in the space is, Walmart alone spent over $12.5 million in advertising their Black Friday event.
Sure.
A dealership with ad spend between $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $9,000, $10,000, your message being Black Friday will get lost in the sea of Black Friday ones. So I agree with you 100%. We got to be proactive in it. But I push what a proper agency should look like is that they're coming up with something even more. When people are talking about this, you guys are talking over here, something that can actually cut through that noise of whatever that specific seasonal message is.
Sure, and there's ways to cut through Black Friday. I mean, you don't have to focus just on the words Black Friday. There could be other angles, and a good agency would find that angles.
Yep.
There is a lot of research online published from Google themselves about how automotive searches during the week of Black Friday are the highest of any month. So you definitely want to capture that market during that time period.
Perfect timing.
But at the end of the day, what you really want an agency to do is get you to come up with a consultation that won't make them more money, because then they're not salespeople, right? Now they're, and some agencies have a consultant, right? A lot of agencies have a consultant, right? But that consultant's job
The problem is that consultant's job is also to sell.
is also to sell.
That's
So
the downside.
now the difference between a consultant and a salesperson, so when you see a consultant from an agency, they're going to give you a more roundabout, high level seed planting.
Sure.
Okay? They're not
Sell
going
you
to
the
directly
clouds.
sell you. Exactly. They're going to plant a seed in you. And but the ultimate end goal, and believe me, they have pre-meetings about it.
Oh yeah.
But they go in and say, hey, took a look at the bounce rate or that's so trivial, the click-through rate on these ads and whatever, something. And it'll be great, and it'll look like a great presentation. They'll say, well, just think about maybe if we went in this direction, maybe if we targeted this area, or maybe we can capture these types of buyers.
Sure.
Then the salesperson comes in a week or two later, right?
Yep.
And that's when it's hits them with a product, new product, brand new product. Whoa,
Constant
didn't know
upselling.
that. How did that? Wow! And just 2 weeks ago, he told me about that. That guy told me about this issue that we had, or whatever it is. And that's the great thing about a third-party consultant or the 4D3 program, is that we are going in and consulting to consult. We're not there to sell.
That's not where your guys' money is. No,
Exactly,
100%.
Exactly.
That's a great space to be in, by the way.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a
Very
great,
neutral, very
it's
Switzerland.
a very good neutral environment to be in. But it's what I want to be in, because at the end of the day, I do want to consult for consulting's sake.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I want to implement and have other dealerships do what we used to do at Carnation Canada. What we used to, we owned the YouTube ad space in 2012, 2013, 2014.
Yep.
We had a dealership, Auto Value Hyundai in Niagara Falls, that sold something like 200 cars in 1 month in May of 2013. 200 new cars. Sorry, 199. We were one short.
Maybe one short.
199 new cars. The previous May of 2012, where there was no advertising, right? I wasn't there. There was another GM. The GM and I collaborated together to create a massive YouTube ads campaign. We had a third party create a video, which was lead generating, and we decided to own YouTube in Niagara region. Own it. We actually did it all the way to Toronto, because back then there weren't PMAs. There weren't any restrictions. Nobody knew. We ran this YouTube ads campaign.
Cost of attention was astronomically low, I imagine.
0.02 cents
That's what I'm
cost
saying.
per view.
See.
Cost per view. I only did 0.02 because I thought, you know what? At least we're beating the 0.01s, right? Anyone you pay attention, right?
Yeah.
So 0.02 cents cost per view. The impressions were phenomenal. The leads coming in were crazy, and they sold 200 cars. And that's what you always want to do, right? You want to compare year over year. And here's a red flag, actually. Any agency that starts to talk about month-to-month comparisons or quarter-to-quarter comparisons of the same year, that's a red flag, because you know what? At the end of the day, your December of 2018 has to be compared to your December of 2017. In March, it snows.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that
So you can't compare March to May, because in May, guess what? It's going to go up every year.
100%.
Okay? So May...
That's a good indicator. My favorite indicator is, now, being the consultant is the key, all right? If you consult, you develop out a strategy, people will buy the strategies. Dealerships need to buy strategies, not products. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a product is not a strategy, right? As a product is something that we utilize within a strategy. Exactly, right? Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, there's a lot of agencies out there that would prefer to sell products, not necessarily strategies. So I think selling the strategy is a key. I think that also, if your agency is asking you what you want to advertise, not what you need to sell, for me, that's the big indicator. That's me. That for me, that was the red flag when I had the dealership. I was like, you're kidding me, right?
So a dealer principal of mine was very brash, and he would say, "Isn't that what I pay you for? Like, aren't you you're a marketing agency?
Why are you asking me what I should be
what I should be advertising?" But anyway, going back to Auto Value Hyundai, they had sold 199. We did a massive video campaign, like I said, 199 cars in May of 2013. They did 32 in May of 2012.
Yep.
160 car difference, new car. So, there's another campaign.
Well, you found a space that you could be bullish in, and you went all in. And I think the crazy thing is something we should probably just side note real quick here. Is that in 2012, 2013, you were averaging about 2 cents per view.
Yeah.
All right. we're still running campaigns today that are between 3 to 5 cents per view.
Oh,
In fact,
okay.
actually in 2018, that was the average for our entire group of dealers that we work with, was 3 to 5 cents per view. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
I mean, I know it's a little side note. We're kind of, we're moving off topic here,
Absolutely.
but isn't it crazy that from I'm like, dealers, wake up! Like 2012 to 2018, the cost per video view has not really changed.
That's impressive that you got 3 to 5 cents a view. I did a campaign recently so it was a 5-day campaign, big sale blitz, $1,000 spend, and we ended up getting 38,000 impressions.
Nice.
10,700 views.
What was the view rate? Do you remember?
Well, 1/3 of what's 10.7? That's 33%.
But the percentage of the view.
33%.
Okay, yeah.
33%. I think it was 28% actually. And then a click-through rate as well. We had about 167, 200 clicks, something like that.
Sure,
So
which is actually high for video play, because that's not necessarily play for video.
And a
People
lot
have to understand, when they're running video, it's not clicks. That's not what we're looking for.
Exactly, and a lot of times the video's not even set up to have clicks. They don't put a card on there, a YouTube card. They don't put a CTA overlay in the middle of the video. They don't even put a link in the description of the video.
It's just we literally have to do it, so we have to put it there. A little learn more button will pop up.
Yeah, exactly. So 37,000 impressions, 10,700 views, which again, for dealers out there, you got to think, we paid for 10,700 views.
At a cost per view of
8 cents.
See, I mean,
8
come on.
cents. But
That's so cheap.
But the eyeballs on our ad were 38,000.
Yeah.
Okay, and we got all of our messaging at the beginning of the video, so regardless, 38,000 people saw the
it
message.
was a complete win-win. But the cool thing is see, I know we're getting a little off topic here, but a video is so bloody important that we have to kind of go in the direction for a moment. The cost of attention is so astronomically low right now that you'd be crazy not to play in that space. Mm-hmm. And when dealerships ask me, like, well, Jay, like, why should I be playing in video? I ask them this real simple series of questions. Do you remember the last 3 text ads you saw pop up on the top of your search engine? I've yet to meet someone that can list me the 3 last text ads they saw.
Sure.
Fair enough. Do you remember the last 3 display ads? Maybe square display ads or rectangle display ads? I've yet to meet anybody that can name 3 of them to me.
Sure.
I asked them what was the last 3 videos they watched, and majority of them can almost list all 3 of the last, if not even 3 to 5 of the last videos. Video has such a higher probability of retaining whatever the message is. As long as the message is relevant to the audience, you'd be stupid. I mean, if I told another company outside of automotive that I would say, hey, if I put a 30-second video of your product or service in front of a group of people that were interested in your product or service, would you pay me $1 per view for that? That's not crazy. 100%. Most people out there say, yeah, I'll give you $1. If you can put a 30-second video in front of people that are interested in my product or services, I'll give you $1. Guys, it's not $1. It's
1/10 of that.
It's 3 to 5 cents, or in some cases 8 to 10 cents. I think it depends on your demographic or where you target within the GTA
absolutely.
and Ontario and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah. There's different factors.
I mean, come on.
Of course.
You know?
Beat that. Here's another factor actually about YouTube video, and it's not the cost per view, which is very important. I'm not too sure why people still aren't. It's such value, bang for your buck video.
It's huge. It's. I get frustrated to the point where I want to slap some people around. I'm like, you're spending money on crap over here. I still have people that want to run text ads.
You know, the problem though, Jason, is the actual production of the video. A lot of dealers.
The cost has come down so much. Look,
There's ways
right
to
now
get
we're
around
recording. Right now we're recording on 4K video. All right, these 3 different cameras recording 3 different angles are going to record roughly about 200 gigs of data by the time we're done here. Okay, for me to get that same type of 4K quality video 5-7 years ago, I think would have been on my shoulder and would have cost $10,000.
Exactly.
You know, now they're devices that fit in my hand. You know, it's not. People get caught up on the production value. They think they got to go all high end with production value. Look, this bad boy will shoot 1080p. Now, don't get me wrong, the microphone's only designed from 5 feet away from you, but you get external mics. Yeah. Plus, people don't want to see high production. They want to see real, raw content.
Sure.
I mean, authentic. People use the word raw, but I think you're right. The key word is actually
authentic. I've actually run campaigns where we're basically doing a product review, and you know the campaigns that do that, it just goes right into we're just doing a review of a car.
Yeah.
And I ran those, and those performed really well. I love looking at YouTube analytics. The view rate on those, and these were long videos.
People are consuming them. They don't want to read. They just tell me the story, right?
It's the new generation of youth, and I'm part of that youth, though I'm not that young, but it is really the new trend of product consumption is that you want to see authentic videos. You don't want someone standing in front of a camera, right, with a microphone. That's old school.
Yep.
New school is show me the guy who's doing the video. Show him. Let me see his knowledge.
I want his thoughts and opinions of why the thing is cool.
Show me the product. Let me see the product. Get into it. So there was YouTube came out with some stats about how 18 to 49 year olds in the U.S. most of them don't watch TV anymore, as you know.
Sure.
But
that's our new TV, right?
Yeah, 90% of them watch YouTube. And what I thought was the most significant fact of that is YouTube is a lean forward medium, whereas TV is a lean backward medium.
See, you're so into YouTube. For me, I'm all about Instagram TV and Facebook TV.
Yeah, cool.
I'm so hardcore in that right now.
Yeah. I had a lot of success with YouTube. There was a dealership that I have, which is actually, and I've yet to find another dealership that has more views than them. Unique Chrysler, if anybody wanted to look them up.
Yep.
We did several videos which had hundreds of thousands of views. Mm-hmm. And they now have, when I left them, they had something like 5,000 subscribers and 4.5 million views. I think they're up to close to 6,000 subscribers now and 5.5 million views. But I mean, they had more views on their channel than Chrysler Canada.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
But that's the opportunities. That's where dealerships don't get it. Moving into this next year, and I think what's really going to be key in the next 5 years, you're going to see the benefit of it in year 5 to 10, is dealerships need to create an internal brand. They cannot rely on their own manufacturers being the brand anymore. They need to create their own unique Chrysler or their own Willowdale Nissan or their own Midway Nissan, or they have to find their own unique branding opportunity. They can't rely on that manufacturer anymore. But the cool thing is they can do it, and they can do it at a cost that's incredibly low. I mean, the fact that you had a dealership that had more views than the manufacturer itself, the brand is strong there, right?
The issue is manpower, right? A lot of times at conferences, people talk theoretically, and they don't talk.
It's all high level. They don't want to get technical.
Exactly. So it's the difference between theory versus implementation. So how you hear it at a conference and somebody says you should do video. Okay, sounds good. And even here we say
we list 10 reasons why you should do video, and that's literally how the conference goes.
But not how when you're sitting in front of 10 sales reps at your meeting, at your sales meeting, the GM's there, he's got your sales numbers up on the board. How do you convince them to go out and pick up a camera? And when I first started, it was a camera. And if you look at some of the early videos from Unique Chrysler, that they were really raw, not professional level anyway whatsoever. How do you get them to go out and film a video? And there's definitely different ways to do that, implementing that strategy at the dealership level. And at the end of the day, it really boils down to ABC. Right? If you've seen Glengarry and Ross, it says always be closing.
Yep. But
it's not always be closing. They should be closing anyway. This is activity between calls.
Yes.
So what are you doing in between your leads, in between your calls? It's an 8-hour day. It's a very long day. What are you doing? What are sales reps doing? They're either talking to the receptionist or doing a slew of other things.
Sure.
Which are not proactively increasing their career value in any way whatsoever.
Well, we have an entire podcast just on employee development and training and the sheer lack of it in Canada. And remember, I'm not originally from Canada. It's one of the few things I have a very sore for. It's just like we do not spend time developing out our employees in any way or form. Yeah. We give them the keys and some brochures and say, congratulations, go sell some cars.
That's right.
But you're 100% right. We're all content developers, all the way from the salesperson to the dealership. We all need to developing out content. I think what I see holding people back from developing out this content is a sheer lack of strategy. There's no direction.
Right.
If the strategy's in place, then the content has direction.
Of course.
And now they know what they need to be building off of.
And that's how we were able to get a lot of videos up at different dealerships. So like I said, there was a lot of stores that I was involved with. Another one that, if you guys want to take a look at, is Georgetown Kia.
Mm-hmm.
Georgetown Kia dealership there, just beside Brampton, very successful dealership, has over 3,500 videos, YouTube videos uploaded.
Yep.
That's 600 videos per year since 2012, since the start of the channel. 600 videos per year. That's almost 3 per day if you don't count holidays and Sundays and things like this.
Yeah.
Those guys, and the GM has to buy in, by the way. You have to convince a GM and the sales manager.
Well, yeah,
Once
it's
you
got to go
convince
from the
them-
top down,
exactly.
100%.
So once you go in and you talk to these guys, you do a presentation as a digital marketing manager that you need to do video, right? All you really have to do is hone in on 1 or 2 guys. Those 1 or 2 guys are the example setters. They're the ones who are the best sellers anyways,
Yes.
right? And so those are the ones that are going to go out and start doing the videos, and then those are the ones that eventually start getting customers from those videos.
Yes.
Someone comes in and goes, I drove in from Guelph. I just want to see the guy who did the video on the Kia Sorento guy. Or a better example would be at Chrysler. We had two guys who were really good. Paul Dworzak was really good at Wranglers, right?
Yep.
And so somebody from Barrie came into Burlington, and it happened several times. And Barrie's one specific example because I was there. And they said, who's the Wrangler guy that you have on your YouTube channel? And you know how many dealerships there are from Barrie to Burlington for this?
Oh, they
guy?
bypass quite a few.
So Paul is, if you listen to his video, he's so brilliant at describing all the features of the Wrangler. And we did all the different trims, right? We did
Yep.
every single of the lines. So anybody who wants to buy a Wrangler in Ontario, they're finding that video. There's VSCO as well that I did, right? Beyond that. Once they
There's
find
a
the video,
new guy you'll really like now. He's called Paul, the Dodge Father. I just did a podcast with him last week.
okay.
Check him out. You'll really
yeah.
enjoy his stuff because he's kind of the next
what's his
version.
last name?
Now you're gonna put me on the spot.
Maybe it's the same guy.
But he's only been in the business for less than 18 months.
Oh, okay.
But he's crushing it,
Okay.
and he did it all off the back of video.
Okay, sure.
So
So activity between calls. If you notice, most of the guys that sell. So when I actually went into the dealerships, here's something to ponder over. The guys that sold the most cars did the most videos.
100%.
So the guy sells 15 cars at the 15-day mark, right? He's on set for 30, pretty good month.
Yep.
And he's got 10 videos uploaded. Meanwhile, there's 4 other people there who sold 7 cars and haven't done 1 video.
Oh, I agree with you. I think the value of doing the video is clear, and I don't think there's anybody that can argue right now at this point, being in 2019, that there's not value in the video. Going back to what we were we'll circle back around, but what we were trying to do is identify, what a good agency should look like for someone that's looking to work with an agency, but also what it looks like to work and hire a proper internet manager or marketing manager, whatever the hell you want to call them at the end of the day, right? Is that both of these, either agency level or in-house level, their understanding of strategy actually needs to be at the highest. Both of these, either agency or internal level, should be in charge. Their primary responsibility should be assisting the dealership in developing out actual strategy. Not running ads for the sake of freaking running them, but actually developing out a strategy. I think that's probably a key feature on both the agency side and in the internal management side as well.
In both agency side and digital marketing manager side, you need somebody who's somewhat aggressive, because at the end of the day, dealerships are a more aggressive business in general.
Yes.
When I walked into e-commerce, in the e-commerce world, and you're dealing with the Nikes and Adidas's and some of these other companies, and I was also with Kitchen Stuff Plus for a bit, where there was kitchen brands and things like this, Cuisinart, they're not aggressive.
No.
None of them are aggressive. Not the way you have to be in auto. You're sitting in front of 10 GMs, right? They're going to give it to you if they think you're full of it. For sure.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I work with a lot of quote unquote marketing managers or internet managers. I mean, literally, there's 15 different phrases or terms for their job title, right? The one thing that I'm always surprised about is that they were hired because they had a graphic design background.
Yeah.
Or they were hired because they had a video background.
Yeah.
Or they were hired because
they posted a few things on Facebook.
They have a great social media presence. Like, that's not who you're hiring. What you need to be hiring is someone that, in fact, actually, they don't even need to know the ins and outs or the nuances of an ad platform. What they need to know is strategy. They need to be responsible for not only creating, maintaining, but also measuring the effectiveness of every single strategy within the dealership. Going back to what we were kind of saying earlier, moving forward, dealerships are not going to have enough in-market individuals, right, to fulfill these goals and objectives that the manufacturers are putting out for them. So they need to have not only new customer acquisition strategies, but existing customer strategies and conquest customer strategies. They need to be diversifying their audiences. Here's a good one. Diversifying your audiences, right? I have a series of videos that I've been kind of holding on to. It's a series of me talking to a couple of GM dealerships out in the Oshawa area about almost 2 years ago. And in the video, I actually make the comment of diversifying their audience. Because of these dealerships' proximities to the manufacturing plant, over 60% of their sales were to employee purchases. Actually, in the video, I make the comment, what happens if that fails? Yeah. You know, and I've made this comment before, but man, I mean, I had no idea that, you know, GM was actually going to close the plant. Yeah. But these dealerships are now staring down the barrel of like an oh crap situation. Sure. You know, they're going to, it will go from 60, it will continue to drop. But they had an opportunity 2 years ago to diversify their audience, and they haven't done it. I look at Toyota dealerships the exact same way right now. If Toyota, for some reason, stopped leasing tomorrow, look, crazier things have happened in financial institutions. What if they just stop leasing altogether? How would that impact your business? I mean, dealerships need to work with not only the agencies, but whoever they end up hiring internally to develop out diverse, it's a good portfolio. You just need a diverse audience portfolio. If you got all your eggs in one basket, man, you can get screwed. I know a couple Ford dealerships that are right next to the Oakville plant, the exact same situation.
The thing is, logistically, there's a new position at a dealership, and a lot of dealerships are still reluctant to admit that.
Okay, which one is that?
And that's the digital marketing manager.
Yes.
The digital marketing manager exists a lot more in groups, I've seen, than in individual dealerships, because they can scale, right? You can scale the salary. They're obviously going to earn a lot more, right, than just a regular employee or social media manager, something like that.
Yep.
And most dealerships are reluctant to hire that person because of the money, because it's an additional salary. Dealerships, and you've been a dealer principal, so you love salespeople because you don't pay them. You only pay them because they're
actually
paying
I
you.
was different. My salespeople were actually on salary.
Were they? Oh, okay. Well, that's
I removed commission.
Did you?
I'm always kind of doing things a little ahead of the curve. I know, right? That's gonna come in the audio. Yeah. It's okay. Exactly. Yeah, actually, my staff were paid a salary and then a volume bonus. So for me, it was all about the customer experience. Sure. And I didn't want the commission to get in the way of the customer experience. Sure. So regardless if they were coming in for an inexpensive vehicle or for a high-end vehicle, which had a lot of gross profit to it, I wanted to make sure that every single individual received the exact same attention, quality, and service.
That's a great approach. But the issue with the digital marketing manager is that they are a straight salary.
Yeah, 100%.
And that irks,
which is screwing.
That irks every dealer to pay a straight salary, because even techs, they're by the hour, but you charge more for the hour, so therefore you're making money off them. F&I, same thing. They make you money, and then you pay them off that money. So when a dealer looks at digital marketing manager, big salary, if I have 10 dealerships, cool, then I can divide it.
Sure.
But if I don't, then you have these dealerships who fall behind. That's one of the great aspects of the D3 program, is that dealerships that are involved have a digital marketing manager per se.
They have a consultant that can play in the middle space. I love that.
That plays perfect. That. So individual dealerships that can't afford maybe to hire a digital marketing manager, hey, Ford of Canada has given us a consultant that we can sort of speak to about any digital marketing initiatives that we want to implement.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see the manufacturer sees the value in it.
Absolutely.
All right, so they're supporting, they're paying for it. It's coming out of there. Excuse me. Manufacturer sees the value in it. They're putting their money into that.
Absolutely.
Dealerships need to do the same, and I don't think it necessarily needs to be a fixed salary. I think you can create a sliding salary based on the performance of the dealership, as long as the primary responsibility of that individual is to create and develop out strategies that directly affect the bottom line.
Gotta see results. Absolutely.
Look, I mean, it's there.
See, I always like to show ROI. So what I'd show my dealer principal is, look how many, and this was back in the days when reviews, I mean, every dealership has a lot of reviews now, but before, I said, look how many reviews we have. Look how many positive reviews. Look at our star ratings. Mm-hmm. Look at a number of videos. And I would actually put them up on a board. We've uploaded 64 videos this week through the 10 dealerships.
Yep.
We've got 69 reviews through the 8 dealerships. We've posted, right? Whatever that is, in a week, 1 post a week, 50 posts, all with links back to inventory, back to this is the exposure we got, this is the amount of reach that we got, this is the amount of engagement, and then the kicker was always, and it was all for free. Other than my time and their time, it was all for free. And that's something, like you said, if a good digital marketing manager can prove that ROI, create, let's say when you first arrive at a dealership, take a look at how many views you have on your YouTube channel, take a look at your reach, take a look at how many followers you have on Instagram, set that as a benchmark.
Well, I think the kicker is that it is super easy to get stuck into vanity metrics, okay?
Sure.
So vanity metrics like likes and shares and heart emojis and followers and subscribers and all the other jazz, right?
Sure.
What I think is key is that who you're hiring, probably a good part, and actually this goes for both the agency and for the internal position, is that you ask them to come prepared with a series of strategies that will help them to assist in a actual goal and objective. Let's say it's towards the end of the year. I'm overstocked with previous year Tundras. All right, give me a strategy or 2 or 3 that will help me, all right, to move these vehicles along. And the tools that are at your disposal could be anything. It can be video, it can be display, it could be text, it could be YouTube, it could be Google, it could be Facebook, Instagram, hell, it could even be LinkedIn. Whatever it is, right? I think the bottom line I see is just a sheer lack at the dealership level and at the tier 2 group level. It's just a lack of a strategy. Mm-hmm. There's just nothing there. It's just repetitively doing the same crap over and over again and then just expecting some different results. Isn't that the definition of whatever insanity, right?
The problem is that the leads still come in. The cost per lead is still low. Right?
Leads.
Now
we got to change that too.
Now you and I both know that all of that is wishy-washy as well, because somebody looking for your own dealership calls your dealership and asks for John. That counts as a lead. I
know. I think what it is we have to redefine what a lead is.
Exactly.
You've been in the business long enough to know the same thing I know, is that we never called these things leads. Yeah. All right, look, way back in the day when websites technology was not great, okay, we were very limited the amount of content we could actually put onto a website, is that because we couldn't fulfill all the answers that a consumer would have about a particular product or service, we created this beautiful thing called the form. And for the longest time, we called them form fills. Every time a form got filled, hey, I got another form fill. At some point in time, and I guarantee it was an agency, all right, decided, no, these are actually leads. We're going to call these leads.
Like even a contact us form, like a schedule service form.
That's not a freaking lead, all right? It's an opportunity to have a conversation that can result in a lead, right? I always kind of play it out like this. Pretend that you're at a party, right? You walk up to someone and someone says, hey, I've been thinking about buying a vehicle. Hey, Ivan, don't you work for a Chrysler dealership? Yeah, I do. Okay, that person's not a lead. They think at that level, that's done. Yeah. No, but now you continue to have a conversation with them. You have the back and forth, you talk about a couple of vehicles, different options and features and so on and so forth. Now you're about 15, 20 minutes into it and you're like, yeah, you know what? I think this truck would be really, really good for you. You know what? Maybe we should take the next step. Why don't we set up a time where you can come in and actually put your hands on this particular product, right? That's when something becomes a lead. Not when they just raised their hand and said, hey, I got a question. That's a bloody conversation, right? Someone filling out a contact us form, it didn't say lead form. It said just contact us. I don't know how we got so mixed up in this whole, lead providers did a great job of it. Pay me some money and I'll provide you leads.
It's a lead, yeah. It's funny because my actual ROI to the dealer principal, I'd actually take out all of that. So I would listen to phone calls, I would double check duplicates, I would actually look at the leads and sometimes even talk to the sales rep to see what happened with this guy or whatever it was. And at the end of the month, I would give him that number as a cost per lead, as opposed
because that's the real cost per lead.
That's the real cost per
lead. The acquisition is nothing. All right, no. That's the cost of acquisition. The cost for me to get someone to ask me a question. Right now, the funny thing is that what we call leads, I don't call it leads, I call them forms. All right, the number for dealerships has dramatically gone down year over year over year over year. But that's for the simple fact is that we have way more information at our hands on a dealership's website than we ever had before. 5 years ago, we had some manufacturers that still didn't even have build and price functions on their website.
I think the reduction of leads is also an agency-created dilemma because I've had
okay, that's interesting.
Absolutely, because if they're not producing leads, it's hey, everybody's going down in leads. I can give you, well, I won't give you specific examples, but I have
maybe off air you can give me those.
I have tons of examples of lead increases across the board, and even in my own personal business, lead increases across the board. So I don't necessarily buy that leads are going down. Here, let me put it to you this way. Tell any dealership to take one of their vehicles, right, a new car, and reduce it by $15,000, $20,000.
Sure.
$49,000 truck, just put it at 29. You're telling me you're not going to get a boatload of leads in the next 3
People are
years.
going to inquire on that. That's what I'm saying. Like, we need to define really what these are. They're people that are showing interest. That's it. They're not a lead. They're just showing interest. So you're right. You discounted a car $15,000. You're the cheapest car out there on the market. No surprise, a buttload of people are interested in it. But that doesn't mean that their interest actually turns to a legitimate sell. There's a whole play, a whole conversation, a whole process that has to happen before their interest turns into actual, what I call lead.
Sure.
You know, I don't know. The industry's screwed like that, right? And there's unfortunately a lot of providers out there. I actually have dealerships that will actually come to me and actually tell me, Jason, I need more leads. I'm like, no, you don't. A, you can't even take care of the ones you got in the first place. Yeah. All right. B, that's not what's going to sell. Our call to action in our marketing message. Okay, now we can talk about the marketing message. It's a good segue. Call to action should never be fill out a form. The bloody call to action should be to come into the stinking dealership. I mean, it's crazy. When did we decide that the call to action shouldn't be come into our location, but the call to action should be no. Don't come into our location. Just fill out this form.
Sure.
Another agency thing that we totally screwed up.
Yeah. So I think that's just made up. And of course, obviously, once you get the lead, it's about lead management. And even myself, whenever you handle a lead, the amount of effort you put into it shows.
100%. Absolutely.
So you have a lot of people just answering leads just to answer them, and that's not the way we train. That's not the way I answer my leads.
Yep.
The more effort you put in, then you're talking about, okay, that's a real lead, because now you're really sparking a conversation.
You've gone from interest, all right, or just awareness over to interest. Now you can take that from interest and actually convert it to an action.
Exactly.
Therefore, now it becomes a lead.
Exactly. And so I think that a lot of times maybe agencies themselves have to go a step further. Is they get you the leads, but if they really want to protect their value, they should have maybe a lead management portion of their business to say, okay, you're getting good leads. Now we have to train you on how to handle them. That way we look good at the end of the day in the overall picture, not just giving you leads just to give you. We're actually making sure that, hey, you handle all those leads as well.
Yep.
Right? So I think that that's also something that the digital marketing manager has to be responsible for, because every lead that comes in, every phone call, all these things are a product of your activity in the digital marketing space, and you can't trace them back to certain sources. But at the end of the day, like with attribution, that's the big thing too in 2018 was attribution. And the reason people are talking about attribution is because you can't really attribute your own product that sold you the lead, right? So it's like, look, well, we were the first ones in, but you got it over here.
But you're the finished one.
Yeah, you're the finished. So that doesn't really count, because if you want to attribute who really got you the contact, it was us.
Oh, look, I think metrics need to change. And the funny thing, and this kind of circles back to what we were talking about with video, is that I think the metrics are changing. It's no longer about, look, for the longest time, what we were buying is we were buying website traffic. We were buying traffic. That's what we were doing. We were buying traffic. We were buying eyeballs to put in front of a specific offer for a product or service that we have. That's what it was. What I see changing with Facebook and Google, especially with their in-store visit analytics, is that we're not buying that anymore. What we're buying is actually engagement. That's what they want to sell.
Yeah.
Which I think is the reason why video views have been capped off for such a long period of time. Look, there's no reason that video should be the same cost per view, or damn near almost the same cost per view as it was in 2012. That's crazy. I mean, that's absolutely nuts, right? It is because the technology is continuing to get better. Facebook and Google knew that this technology was going to continue to get better. Now we're at a place that we can actively put an obscene amount of video into the market space. And what the measurable is not a piece of traffic, but the engagement is the immeasurable. We have to stop looking at CPMs and CTRs and CPCs. We gotta stop looking at this crap. We have to look at how someone actually engages with a piece of content that we actually put out there. And the best piece of content, or really probably the only true way to measure a piece of content, is video. Video is the only thing you can do that with.
Definitely, when you look at the view rates, I'm sure you look at view rates on your videos. YouTube Analytics actually has the analytics on YouTube, not Google, just YouTube itself are really critical for that.
Oh, yeah,
you're looking
100%.
at the view rate. But just going back to what you said about engagement, it's interesting because the Facebook dashboards and Google dashboards don't talk. Their first default metric,
you notice this
columns,
too,
is cost per engagement.
Yeah, I know.
And engagement.
See, they're changing it. They're doing it.
Exactly.
And I don't think anybody's having this conversation. No one's having this conversation yet. Is that?
It's totally obvious.
But it's obvious to me. I mean, I see it. You know, my conversations with Google directly and Facebook directly. It's obvious what they're preparing for. Look, the days of us having 3, 5, 7, 8, 10 cent video views, they're gonna be gone in the next few years. All right, and then dealerships are going to be like, oh shit, I should have bought in. And at that point in time, they're going to be paying cost per views of close to $1, and even then, it will still be a reasonable price.
Yeah, well, it's just like anything else. I mean, if you get in early, especially with dealerships, as soon as they see a bandwagon of dealerships going on it, then they're all on it, and then it saturates, and then you got to look for the next thing. And right now, yeah, video is definitely an area where a lot of dealerships aren't taking advantage of, especially when you look at video and you do, even organically, when you do searches for vehicles in Ontario, other than some of the dealerships that I was a part of, which we had a lot of videos, but generally speaking, you don't really see videos from Ontario. They're all American videos, right? Do a search for, I don't know, 2018 Ford Fusion or something like that, 2018 Ford F-150. And a lot of times you'll see some Canadian ones because we're doing a better job at it, but you'll see a lot of Americans interspersed. But if you put 2018 F-150 into a Google search engine, it's all local Ford dealerships. And so I'm hoping, and I hope that somehow Google and YouTube listen to this, is YouTube as a search engine should become more geo-profiled so that when you're doing searches in there and people are searching locally for a video, they actually see the dealerships that have produced the video locally.
It's starting to change. On the ad side, it is organically. It hasn't changed yet. On the ad side, it's very
on the ad side, it's absolutely local. Yeah, you're right. But that's definitely a space that more dealerships should take advantage of. And at the end of the day, if your digital marketing manager isn't pushing it, if your agency isn't pushing it, then it's not going to happen. It's something that takes a good amount of a lot of effort to implement.
Yes.
But it's not really that much effort. It's just something that you've never done before and has never been seen before.
Yep.
And some of the examples I've shown of those dealerships that I work with are still doing it today. So it's not difficult. It's just a matter of changing the mindset.
You got to get into the routine. It's got to be a routine.
It's got to be routine.
Yep.
Yeah, and you got to make it routine. And again, it's a collaboration between the digital marketing manager, the sales manager, the GM, pushing towards the sales reps. And if those three are working together, you've got a really good dealership. You
know what's funny, and we can kind of wrap this up, but there's so much similarities in what a dealership should be looking for as far as both an agency and an internal employee. Both of them, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but the consistency is both of them need to be the ability to develop out strategies, and both of them need to be proactive in their efforts.
And aligned.
Yes.
All aligned.
They need to be aligned with the dealerships. So it's funny, it's all the three things are similar on both sides, right? So what you should be hiring for in an internal person, what you should be hiring for in an agency is strategy, proactive, and that all efforts are in line with the dealership's goals and objectives.
Exactly.
If you can find those three things in an agency, or you can find those three things in an internal employee,
sure,
that's a formula for winning.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll finish this off. Ivan, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming out this evening. I had a great time talking with you.
same.
Are there any final thoughts you'd like to share with the audience out there?
No, not really. Just, you know what? Love automotive. It's the biggest industry out there. Believe me, I've been out of it, and I just know that it is. And in terms of digital marketing, you can do so much. It's just a matter of doing it.
That's awesome, man. Hey, thanks, Ivan.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it, dude. This was great.